Hello everyone. Today made another video, and an interesting thought came to my mind, so I wanted to share it with you all. And we're just scouring through well-known, renowned individuals that are alive. They're really doing well, especially in the last year or two, right? So we'll try to see what's the pattern that's common to all of them, and just by looking at the list, I was able to notice it. Let's see if you guys will too. So check it out. Obviously, these are famous, successful people, right? No doubt. I mean, they're basically at the peak of their career. They're at the peak of their career. Um, Here's a list of famous, successful people. Um, let's see if you can notice what's similar about them. I mean, this also includes the place of birth, which is not really necessary, but see if you can notice something else. And here are some more people. And of course, you could just keep adding on to this list again and again and again, right? And there's a lesson from this. This is like an encouragement of some way, right? So let's go to the next one. So what was similar about them? What was similar there? The fifth decade of their lives. So you see, most of those people, most of those individuals, they're either already living in the fifth decade of their lives, or they're pretty much approaching it. So it's like in your early 50s, late 40s, and somewhat in your late 50s as well. I mean, this is basically like the peak or the zenith or the acme of one's life. That's what that tells me, at least. So I mean, if you are in your early 20s like me, or in your 30s, or just reaching 40, you gotta realize that should tell you that the best part of your career, of your efforts, of your endeavors, is gonna be as well in the fifth decade of your life. What's that's what that tells you. That's how that enlightens you. And this is also attested by a philosopher. So I wanted to share a quote from that philosopher. I hit the wrong one. My bad. All right. So the philosopher, this guy, Arthur Schopenhauer. Arthur Schopenhauer, right? And I was reading his book, The Wisdom of Life, and the Counsels and Maxims, right? And he tested the idea that I present here. All right. So I wanna reference his work here. I got an excerpt. Here it is. All right. I'll read it about it, and this was like basically the last page or two of Counsels and Maxims, and he just slightly touches upon the subject of astrology. But he basically the chapter 5 is basically when he's talking about the various periods of one's life, right? So he likes the idea of dividing up your life story into decades. I think he agrees to that idea. So based on that, he notices that a particular period of life is basically when you're gonna be at your peak. So if you're 20s, if you're 30s, if you're in your 40s, this should tell you that if you're just temporarily got an ordinary job in a restaurant, or a plant, or a factory, or landscaping or something like that, right? You shouldn't be discouraged. You shouldn't. It's not really fair for you to be compared to somebody else who's really successful, and who's doing well, but with themselves. Not just in their surrounding, but also how they're doing mentally right now. And But you don't know where you're gonna be in your 50s, right? all those famous people back when they were in their 20s, it's not like they were kicking ass, you know? A lot of these people, they also had humble beginnings. We shouldn't forget. So here's the first quote by Schopenhauer, right? Here I'm going to read it. At the age of 50, Jupiter is the dominant influence. At that period, a man has outlived most of his contemporaries, and he can feel himself superior to the generation about him. He is still in the full enjoyment of his strength, and rich in experience and knowledge, and if he has any power and position of his own, he is endowed with authority over all who stand in his immediate surroundings. He is no more inclined to receive orders from others. He wants to take command himself. The work most suitable to him is to guide and rule within his own sphere. That is the point where Jupiter culminates and where the man of 50 years is at his best. Alright, so that was the first quote, and there's another quote by him that I wanted to share with you. Here it is. So, same chapter, but a little earlier in the chapter. There's more conceptive power in youth. In that time of life, a man can make more out of the little that he knows. With age, judgment, penetration, and thoroughness predominate. Youth is the time for amassing the material for a knowledge of the world that shall be distinctive and peculiar, for an original view of life. In other words, a legacy that a man of genius leaves to his fellow men. It is, however, only in later years that he becomes master of his material. Accordingly, it will be found that as a rule, a great writer gives his best work to the world when he is about 50 years of age. But though the tree of knowledge must reach its full height before it can bear fruit, the roots of it lie in youth. So the lesson from this idea is that when you're in your 20s or 30s, you can never know what the peak of your own career will be like, But you have to try to direct your life in that, in that trajectory, right? You have to be, if you got a shitty job right now, if you're in a humble, ordinary position, you got to be pursuing something better, something greater, some print you can leave, you know, something you aim and you accomplish, that's, your inner will to better your situation. And as long as you're pursuing that, you can hope and you can expect, hopefully, you can expect too, perhaps, of you being in your 50s and you being at the peak of your career. So look forward to it. Work hard, and show, and yeah, enjoy it.